This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
We're working to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Alma Angeles. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus here on EBC headquarters in Manila. And joining me today is our EBC Bureau's Mika Apostol. Hello, Mika.
Hello, Alma. I'm Micah Gunas Apostol from EBC Vietnam Bureau, giving you the news in the dynamic ASEAN region.
On today's headlines. 16 people were killed and dozens left missing after landslides triggered by a typhoon hit central Vietnam, prompting a desperate search for survivors as the country battles some of the worst weather seen in years.
The United Nations in the Philippines has mobilized around 1.4 billion pesos in debt and aid through 150 COVID-19 rapid response activities being implemented by 20 UN partner agencies throughout the country.
Digital payment transactions in government agencies are expected to increase as the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas encourages more offices to use eGov Pay.
Aged almost 90, Vietnamese artist Mong is a pioneer who has inspired generations of women artists in Vietnam. She has won plaudits overseas and has a watercolor in the British Museum's collections. But for years, BICH has been overlooked in her home country and has had to wait until this month for her first solo exhibition.
The European Union would provide 1.3 million euros or 1.5 million US dollars to bring critical humanitarian assistance to families affected by the flooding in central Vietnam. To tell us more about this, joining us live is Eliana Faith Sebastian. Hello, Eliana.
Hello, Alma. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Eliana.
Here is an update from VN Express International. The EU provides 1.5 million US dollars assistance for central Vietnam flood victims. The European Union will give 1.52 million US dollars for immediate humanitarian assistance to families affected by intense flooding across central Vietnam. European External Action Service stated in a press release that the aid mainly focuses on addressing the urgent needs of the most affected people in central Quang Binh, Quang Tri, and Phua Tien Huế provinces. EU's humanitarian response overseer in Mekong region, Oliver Rohan, said that this contribution underlines their solidarity with the Vietnamese, many whom have suffered loss of homes, livelihoods, and belongings because of the devastating floods. The funding consists the distribution of hygiene kits and other necessary relief items. Moreover, access to drinking water, sanitation facilities, and promotion of good hygiene are ensured. People would also be provided with cash transfers that they can use to buy food and other items. The humanitarian assistance will prioritize female-headed households and persons with disabilities. Vietnam's central region experienced prolonged heavy rains, intense floodings, and destructive floods for the past 3 weeks that have taken the lives of at least 130 people, left 290,000 houses submerged, and destroyed agricultural lands and killed livestock as well. Organizations from all over the world held hands to help Vietnam to overcome the consequences of these deadly floods. This includes Japan International Cooperation Agency, the ASEAN Coordinating Center for Humanitarian Assistance on Disaster Management, United Nations Development Program, and Save the Children Vietnam. The landslides in Quang Nam had claimed the lives of at least 7 people and left 46 missing. Back to you, Alma.
All right, thank you very much for your updates there on the floods in Vietnam. Please keep safe, and we are looking forward to more updates there as we follow this developing story. Thank you, Eliana.
Thank you so much, Alma, reporting live from Da Nang, Vietnam. This is Eliana Faith Sebastian. We live in interesting times.
"16 people were killed and dozens left missing Thursday after landslides triggered by a typhoon hit central Vietnam, prompting a desperate search for survivors as the country battles some of the worst weather seen in years.
Coi như là tuần tiết rồi giờ nó ba không còn một cái gì hết, cô nói con ngang là nó ba không còn một cái, những cái gì nó cũng ba hết, không có còn cái bây giờ chỉ là còn cái sườn nhà không thôi, còn ngoài ra là cái gì nó cũng ba hết.
Chính quyền người ta họ cũng báo trước cho dân rồi thì dân người ta họ cũng chuẩn bị trước, nhưng mà gió thì bão thì quá lớn thì nói chung cái sự tàn phá của gió mạnh thì nhà và mái tôn và nhà và cây thì nó ngã cũng hơi bị nhiều.
Typhoon Molave hit villages in the central provinces on Wednesday, reportedly killing 2 people as it knocked down trees, tore roofs of homes, and brought heavy rain to an area already badly affected by weeks of flooding. Following 2 separate landslides on Wednesday, 53 people were reported missing across 2 villages in Quang Nam province. Authorities said the bodies of 16 of them had so far been pulled from the mud, according to state media. Soldiers were among search team battling to reach the site through fallen trees and mud that had blocked roads, authorities said. Typhoon Molave was Vietnam's 4th storm this month and forced authorities to relocate around 375,000 people to safety, cancel hundreds of flights, and close schools and beaches. It made landfall south of Da Nang, packing winds of up to 145 kilometers per hour before weakening to a tropical depression on Thursday. 26 fishermen were also still missing on Thursday, with helicopters and Navy ships deployed to look for their 2 vessels that disappeared before the storm made landfall. The typhoon came on the back of weeks of severe flooding and landslides that have claimed to 130 lives and damaged or destroyed more than 310 homes, according to International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. Close to 1.2 million people were in severe danger and in need of relief, the IPFR warned.
Meanwhile, the Thai cabinet is allowing tourists arriving on yachts carrying special tourist visas. To bring us that update, joining us live from Bangkok, here's Crystal Mapa. Hello, Crystal.
Yes, hello, Alma. And yes, you are right. As Thailand slowly opens for international tourists, the Thai cabinet has green-lighted the arrival of tourists on yachts, provided that they have special tourist visa. There are 650 foreign tourists who have applied for STVs, which are expected to arrive on 33 cruise ships and 27 super yachts, according to the deputy government spokesperson, Ms. Traisuli Traisuranakul. Some requirements for obtaining this STV are insurance for COVID-19 infection to an insured value of 100,000 USD, 400,000 baht, or approximately 13,000 USD insurance coverage for inpatient medical services, and 40,000 baht, or approximately 1,300 USD insurance coverage for outpatient medical services. A mandatory 14-day quarantine on board their vessels is a must, and yacht owners must book port slips in advance and must abide rules of the Thai Harbor Department. Back to you, Alma.
All right, thank you very much. I wish I could arrive there on a yacht.
We'll wait for that.
We'll see you soon. Thank you for your updates, Cristel.
Thank you, Alma. Reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. I am Crystal Mapa. We live in interesting times.
The Thai criminal court dropped the contempt of court charge against the leader of the anti-government Free People group, Parrot Penguin Shirak, after he apologized for his actions. We have a report coming in live from Faye Bartek.
Good afternoon, Micah, and good afternoon to all our viewers. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you. Despite the apology that has been made by Mr. Parit Penguin Chiwarak, the leader of the anti-government Free People group, the criminal court is still considering the case with the charge of contempt of court for encouraging people and directing the people to come together on August 8 to disrupt the legal proceedings in the court. Involving here are the protest leaders Arnon Nampa and Panupong Jadnok. According to the report, Micah, he didn't have any intention to do legal proceedings obstruction. He also made a promise that he will not be seen with wrongdoings. Meanwhile, another protest co-leader, who is Mr. Arnon Nampa, has been released on bail but got protest-related offenses that made him back to detention. 4 protest leaders are acknowledging the charges because they violate the serious state emergency during the October 16 demonstration. In line with this protest, Micah, there would be a pro-democracy protest here in Bangkok that might cause traffic later. So the first one is on Bang Nachad Highway at 4 p.m., at MRT Saladang at 5 p.m., and Skywalk in front of MBK. MBK is a shopping mall and it is crowded. It is usually crowded later at 5:30 p.m. Back to you, Micah.
Thank you for your updates, Faye.
Thank you very much, Micah. This is Faye Barter reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand Bureau, and we live in interesting times.
In a related news, orange-vested drivers of motorbike taxis have become allies to Thailand's pro-democracy protesters gathering across traffic-snarled Bangkok, offering lifts and keeping an eye out for trouble. Bangkok's motorbike taxi drivers ferried stranded protesters to newly announced demonstration sites, helping to thwart the government's week-long emergency decree banning gatherings of more than 4 people. Let's look at this.
มีส่วนลดพิเศษจากปกติเราคิด20-30อย่างเงี้ยก็จะคิดแค่ถูกลงมาจาก40แล้วคิด30อย่างเงี้ยให้ถูกลงมาก็ช่วยเหลือผู้ชุมนุมด้วยเราก็มีรายได้เพิ่มด้วย
The number of families affected by Typhoon Quinta has climbed to 57,742, or totaling 242,220 persons. In an update Thursday, National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council Executive Director Ricardo Halad said these individuals are residing in 1,008 barangays in Central Luzon, Calabar Zone, Mimaropa, Western Visayas, and Eastern Visayas. Quinta also caused 3 incidents of flooding, 22 landslides, 5 maritime mishaps, and 1 storm surge in central Luzon, Calabarzon, Mimaropa, Bicol, Western Visayas, Eastern Visayas, the Cordillera Administrative Region, and the National Capital Region. The NDRRMC also reported that 16 persons died, 22 were injured, and 4 others missing due to the onslaught of Quinta in Calabarzon, Mimaropa, Bicol, Western Visayas, and Eastern Visayas.
In related news, natural extreme events and disasters has cost the Philippine economy nearly $500 billion pesos between 2010 and 2019. That is according to a data released by the Philippine Statistics Authority. Now, according to the Business Mirror, PSA data showed that these extreme events and disasters cost the economy 463 billion pesos and cost as much as 12,097 deaths in 10 years. The agriculture sector was the worst hit, accounting for 62.7% or 290 billion pesos of the damage. The highest number of Filipinos, 7,056, perished because of Super Typhoon Yolanda and the Bohol earthquake in 2013. PSA explained an extreme event is one that is rare within its statistical reference distribution at a particular location, while a disaster is often described as a result of exposure to an extreme event. In terms of the economy, apart from agriculture, the sectors worst hit were infrastructure and private communications, accounting for 23% or 106 billion pesos and 14.3% or 66 billion pesos respectively. The year that Super Typhoon Yolanda and Bohol earthquake hit recorded the highest cost to the economy between 2010 and 2019. Now that year, extreme natural events and disasters cost the economy 106.667 billion pesos. Now this was followed by 2018 when disasters such as the eruption of the Mayon volcano and several strong typhoons such as Tropical Cyclone Ompong cost the economy 67.622 billion pesos. And in terms of casualties, apart from 2013, the year when many Filipinos died of natural calamities was in 2011 when there was a total of 1,557 deaths. This was largely due to Typhoon Sendong in December, which alone killed 1,268 Filipinos. Among the major disasters from 2010 to 2019, meteorological disasters posted the highest number at 120 incidents, followed by geophysical disaster and climatological disaster at 16 and 2 incidents respectively, according to PSA.
The United Nations in the Philippines has mobilized around 1.4 billion pesos in aid through 150 COVID-19 rapid response activities being implemented by 20 UN partner agencies throughout the country. Gustavo Gonzalez, UN resident and humanitarian coordinator in the Philippines, said in a statement the world body moved swiftly to support the government-led efforts to contain COVID-19 and limit its socio-economic impact. Gonzalez said our support combines the reorientation of existing interventions to cope with the crisis, the implementation of timely impact assessments, as well as the technical assistance and in-kind support to national, regional, and community partners. Carl Kendrick Chua, Acting Socio-Economic Planning Secretary of the National Economic and Development Authority, said the Philippines acknowledges the UN's immediate support to Manila's response against the pandemic. The UN's 1.4 billion pesos rapid COVID-19 investment consists in kind support and technical assistance. 60% of the activities are being implemented nationwide, while 20% are focused on the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, followed by the National Capital Region and other regions.
Supporters of Myanmar's ruling NLD party take to Yangon's river ahead of the country's national elections next week. Take a look.
အဲ့တော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီပါတီကိုဆက်တောက်ခိုင်း
စိတ်ထဲကပြောတာပေါ့ရမ်းပြောတာပေါ့အမေချစ်လို့အားလုံးကအမေအတွက်ကြီးပဲလုပ်နေကြတယ်မေအောင်စီရောက်ကြမလို့
Myanmar is set to hold general elections next month for the second time since the end of military rule in 2011. The last election in 2015 ushered Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy, or NLD, into power with a landslide victory. And since then, the NLD has had a mixed economic record, and Aung San Suu Kyi has gone from human rights icon to international pariah for defending the army's brutal persecution of the Rohingya ethnic minority.
Kasama ang mga dulo ng iyong mga daliri. Pagkatapos ay iyong palapulsuhan. Gawin ito ng kahit 20 segundo. Pagkatapos ay banlawan ng tubig at patuyuin.
Congratulations! Klasiko! Magnifico! Patrick and Aril, go!
I know I'm praying for much too much, but could you send back
Impact Boys! It's now our second monthly finals.
Ang galing!
Nai-imagine ko na kung gaano kahirap yung pinagdaanan.
Grabe, buong performance mo ata. Feeling ko nakanganga ko talaga.
Naging emotional ako kasi grabe yung performance.
Welcome back. Digital payment transactions in government agencies are expected to increase as the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas encourages more offices to use eGovPay. In a virtual event titled Advancing E-Payments via Public-Private Partnership, hosted by the Makati Business Club Wednesday, BSP Governor Benjamin Diokno said there are over 280 government agencies and local government units using the electronic payment system. eGovPay was launched in November 2019 as a payment solution for streamlining and digitization of government collections and disbursements. It is aimed at addressing leaks in government revenue collections and ensuring transparency. Since its introduction, the electronic payment system has registered a 688% rise in transaction volume from 162 to 1,277 as of end June this year. In terms of value, it posted a 799% increase from 1.429 million pesos to 12.848 million pesos during the same period. Among the payment transactions that use the system include payment for taxes, licenses, and permits. And agencies that are currently part of the eGovPay include the Bureau of Internal Revenue, Philippine National Police, Environmental Management Bureau, and the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration.
A Thai pineapple company on Wednesday dropped 9.6 billion USD civil defamation case against a British human rights activist who had alleged abuse of migrant workers in the kingdom's fruit industry. Andy Hall has been hit with a series of lawsuits over the past 8 years after contributing to a 2012 report about alleged poor working conditions, low wages, and child labor at Natural Fruits Factory. In 2016, he was found guilty of criminal defamation and given a suspended 3-year prison sentence before the conviction was overturned in June this year. In response, the company launched a 300 million civil defamation case in July, but with the trial due to start, lawyers for the firm told the Bangkok court Wednesday it would drop the charges. Court documents said the plaintiff intends to withdraw the case and wants the court to dismiss this case from the court system. Hall, who left Thailand in 2016 after living there for 12 years, welcomed Wednesday's decision in a statement but said it was not a victory. My activism was intended only to promote and uphold the fundamental rights of millions of migrant workers in the country. He said that, adding, workers continued to be subject to systematic human and labor rights violations. Natural Fruit, a major supplier to the European drinks market, has not commented but previously denied the allegations raised in the 2012 report.
In other news, Singapore's Energy Market Authority, or EMA, signed memorandums of understanding, or MOUs, with Malaysia's Energy Commission, Suruhanjaya Jaya Tenaga, as well as Hong Kong's Electrical and Mechanical Services Department on Wednesday. EMA's MOU with ST was signed on the sidelines of the 13th Singapore International Energy Week, and it aims to strengthen bilateral cooperation in the energy sector, according to both parties in a media release. The MOU will enable both organizations to enhance their sharing of knowledge and technical operation in the planning and reliability of gas and electricity systems. It will also help with the regulation of wholesale and retail electricity markets and cooperation in multilateral meetings.
The Department of Health on Wednesday said the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and World Health Organization have committed to help the Philippine government with its COVID-19 vaccine procurement and distribution. With the possibility of COVID-19 vaccines becoming available, the Business Mirror report said hopefully by next year, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergier said that they have been discussing with national agencies and even the private sector to ensure that there would be enough storage facilities in the country. Not only the multilateral agencies such as World Bank, ADB, and World Health Organization will help the DOH. Vergier said that the legislators have also committed to support them in the funding to hasten the distribution of safe and effective vaccines. She, however, did not reveal the needed budget to build storage facilities across the country. She also said that some of the vaccines may not need ultra-low temperature freezers for the storage of COVID-19 vaccines, for there are vaccine candidates that are using existing platforms with a temperature of 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. The DOH official cited that Pfizer and Moderna, on the other hand, maintains the temperature lower than 40 degrees Celsius.
The Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, soft-launched the Make It Happen in the Philippines campaign to invite foreign investors and choose the Philippines as their next investment destination. DTI Secretary Ramon Lopez initially launched the campaign to investors from Australia and New Zealand. Under the Make It Happen in the Philippines campaign, the DTI highlights 5 priority sectors, including electronics, automotive, aerospace, copper, and information technology, and business process management. Despite the setbacks and challenges brought about by the pandemic, the Philippines still remains a conducive place to do business. He said we are also considered one of the top emerging economies and countries for investments. He urged firms from Australia and New Zealand to look into opportunities in the country with its huge domestic market of 110 million population and access to the ASEAN market of 600 million people. The trade chief also highlighted the young workforce in the Philippines, which stood at 49 million workers and producing 750,000 graduates annually. Lopez said the Philippines' wage rates are among the most stable in the region.
The Philippine banking sector could potentially see a significant erosion of asset quality post-pandemic, as the country's economic resilience to COVID-19 related shocks is now classified as a very high risk to the leading industry. In S&P Global's recent Asia-Pacific financial institutions monitored for the fourth quarter, the International Credit Watcher said the economic risk trend of banks in the Philippines has turned negative. In its key banking sector risk assessment, the Philippines' economic resilience is the biggest risk for banks in the coming years. The Philippines shares the same assessment with Asian countries like Bangladesh, Cambodia, Sri Lanka, and Vietnam, whose economic resilience was also related as a very high risk for their banking system. Also deemed high-risk threats to Philippine banks were credit risk in the economy and institutional framework. Competitive dynamics and system-wide funding carry intermediate risk, while economic imbalances carry a low risk. S&P earlier said it expects the Philippines to post a 9.5% contraction this year. This is the biggest forecasted contraction in the Asia-Pacific region. As such, S&P said their overall assessment pointed to higher than expected risk of credit losses for local banks, given their expectation of a poor economic performance. Also, the credit watcher warned the bank's non-performing assets, including restructured loans, could rise to 5.5%, up to 7.5% of the bank's total portfolio. S&P forecast is significantly higher than the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas assessment that non-performing loans will only reach about 4.6% of the bank's total portfolio by the end of the year.
Turuan din natin ang mga bata ng tamang paghugas ng mga kamay. Basain ang kamay ng tubig at lagyan ng sabon. Kuskusin ang iyong mga palad. Gayon din ang pagitan ng mga daliri. Pati na ang likod ng mga palad at daliri. Ganon din ang iyong hinalaki, kasama ang mga dulo ng iyong mga daliri. Pagkatapos ay iyong palapulsuhan. Gawin ito ng kahit 20 segundo. Pagkatapos ay banlawan ng tubig at patuyuin.
All right, welcome back. Age almost 90, Vietnamese artist Mong Bish is a pioneer who has inspired generations of women artists in Vietnam. She has won plaudits overseas and has a watercolor in the British Museum's collection. But for years, Bish has been overlooked in her home country and has had to wait until this month for her first solo exhibition. Take a look.
Khi mà tôi vẽ tranh này thì tôi cảm thấy nó rất là hạnh phúc và tôi coi như là cuộc sống thì phải ăn, bởi vì người ta nói ăn để mà sống, thì tôi cũng thế. Vẽ tranh cũng như thể là khi mà tôi được ăn. Tôi vẽ những cái mà rất là trong cuộc sống nó rất là đơn giản, nó rất là bình thường thôi, nhưng mà cái cảm xúc của mình đặt vào một cách hết sức là chân thật và yêu mến nó thực, thì bất kỳ một cái gì tôi nghĩ nó cũng thành tranh.
In 1931, during the French colonial era, Bish spent decades caring for her husband, a violinist and independence fighter who was wounded fighting French forces in Laos. They lived in desperate poverty while she raised their 2 children. Needing to earn a living in 1956, she enrolled in one of the first classes of the newly opened Vietnam College of Art in Hanoi and took a job drawing propaganda cartoons for a newspaper, but she never stopped sketching what she saw on the streets: a poor old woman curled up on the floor and a mother breastfeeding a baby, a drawing considered so scandalous it was initially removed from an exhibition in 1960. I paint on my own in my style, she said. Some may like my painting, some not. I really don't care. Despite everything she had to deal with, her pioneer spirit shone through and she persevered with her work, according to Nora Taylor, professor of South and Southeast Asian art history at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. I think many women subsequently looked up to her. Now, Bish's watercolor portrait of an elderly woman seated on the floor won first prize in 1993 at the Vietnam Fine Arts Association annual exhibition, but fame did not follow. The lack of recognition is due to a kind of erasure of women's contributions in Vietnam's art history, according to Taylor, as happened across much of the world. But that is finally changing, and there is growing acknowledgement that Bish's life and her paintings are testimony to what many went through in the 20th century Vietnam. Hello, Micah. Thank you for joining us today. And I think, yes, I think Faye is also joining us for her, I think she's going to show us something, something delicious. Let's wait for her. Would you like to ask her, Micah, what that is?
She already demonstrated earlier, but yeah,
I think
let's
she's
ask
coming
her.
back. Hello, Faye.
Hi, Alma, and hi, Micah. Hi to everybody also. Yeah,
Where are
yeah,
you?
I just have here, it's actually a Thai dessert. I don't know
Okay,
if
where are you? We can't see you. There you
you cannot
go.
see me.
Go ahead, Faye. It's all yours. Show us what that is.
Yes, this is a Thai dessert. I'm not really sure the exact name for this because here in Thailand, when for the dessert they call in a common name like khao tom or kanom like that. So you can see this on the roadside. This is very common. It will cost you 20 baht. This is actually 4 pieces, but one of our colleagues here just gave me this, and then yeah,
Can you
and
show
I would
us?
just like to open this and show to everybody. Okay, let me just tilt my camera here.
There you go.
Yes. Okay, so this is when they
Tilt it
cover
somewhere.
this, it's really lovely. It's like very artistic like, yeah. So just open it like this, and we can see a white dessert like this. So the texture is somehow like I'm not really sure what that is in English or in Tagalog, but in our province we call that tamales. The texture, the size is like tamales also.
Okay, show
The
us.
color also.
Okay.
The color also. So the smell is sweet. We can smell the sweetness of this dessert. So
And what is inside?
When I have this into half,
Okay.
we can see that there is a caramelized coconut inside.
Oh.
And I'm not really sure if this white is made from coconut milk.
Okay, can you taste it?
And
Can you taste it for us? Go ahead and eat it.
yeah, okay. I'm actually hungry because
And tell us how it tastes.
here in Thailand.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, here in Thailand, Alma, Micah, and to everybody, when they are eating, they are really using their bare hands. So, and for us Filipinos and to other Western, they use the spoon when they eat. But here, so I'm just going to mimic them. I'm just going to do what they do. So we are just going to put like this and get some of it and just taste. So let us taste. Everybody, join me tasting this one. So coconut and like a coconut milk.
Mmm.
So is the taste different from tamales from Pampanga?
Mm-hmm.
The white one, it really tastes like tamales, but just imagine that tamales has a sweet taste and sweet smell. Like that. It's a bit salty, just a bit salty. Sorry, just a bit salty, but I can still taste the sweetness of it because there is a caramelized coconut inside.
I see. So maybe Thailand's tamales version is better because it's like really a dessert.
Yeah, probably. But Filipino food, Filipino delicacies are still the best for me.
Yes.
I miss tamales, I miss Kapampangan delicacies and everything.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Faye.
I'm going to finish this. Thank you very much for all. Thank you.
Enjoy.
I will.
Thank you, Faye. And we'll bring some Pampanga delicacies to Faye when we go there. Thank you very much, Micah, for helping me out today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Alma. And that's the latest news in the ASEAN region. I'm Micah Guneth Apostle from EBC Vietnam Bureau. We live in interesting times.
And this is Alma Angeles. We live in interesting times. Goodbye.